Hi, welcome to Positively Sparking, a podcast on internet marketing, online productivity, and business. Today I'm with Joel Harrison, expert VA and client manager at Positive Sparks. Today we're going to go through our favourite apps for the month of April. So hey Joel, how are you?
Hi Phil, I'm good thanks, and you?
Pretty good, fresh from a week's holiday, so it's always a good week to have, isn't it? The week back from holiday, everything feels great.
Lovely Italy, how was Italy?
Italy was beautiful, southern Italy, first time there. Great weather, beautiful countryside. It's actually very green, greener than I expected.
Oh right, we're very green here in France actually. It's all very green at the moment.
There we go. So what about yourself? What have you been up to in the last week?
Just working, lots and lots of work.
Well, you're so in demand. That's what happens when you're so in demand.
Yeah, I have a lot of book projects at the moment. I'm having to put people off. It's getting to the point where everyone wants something at the same time.
So with all of that book work on, have you had any time to look at some new apps?
I have actually, yeah, and I've been looking at some today as well for next month's podcast, hopefully. So, I've got today.
What a great example of your professionalism. Looking ahead already.
Well, I had 5 minutes to spare and somebody put a blog post out yesterday, not mentioning any names, Elaine, and I'm going through that going, I've not heard of that one.
So given all that choice that you have, where are you going to start this month? What's your first app?
Okie doke. So this month I'm going to start with a Twitter app, and it's actually for using Twitter on the browser, which I don't do very often, but sometimes using the browser for Twitter is quite handy, especially for searches. I find it much easier. And also just because it's on a bigger screen, really, rather than trying to play on my iPhone or on the app on my Mac. So the app that I've been using is called Twitcher, and it's actually a Chrome add-on, which you can use on Twitter for having various different accounts. So for example, because I manage quite a lot of Twitter accounts, probably around 10, 12, this app, this add-on lets me switch between Twitter profiles without having to sign out and sign in again with the different details, which is wonderful.
I can imagine. So do you have a day when you're literally moving in and out of 10, 12 Twitter accounts?
Probably not just on one day. I think I'd go a bit mad. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously at the beginning of the week I tend to do a lot of social media scheduling and searching things. So the beginning of the week I'm in and out of different accounts on Twitter. And to have them all there where you just click on, I think you click on your face on Twitter at the very top, and it just gives you a list of all the ones that you've got sort of added onto Twitcher. And you can just, click on it and it takes you straight through to being logged into that profile. So, it's great. And I do need to use it more. And I haven't added all of my Twitter accounts on there yet, but it's certainly on my list of things to do.
So a big time saver for anyone who's a social media pro or a VA or anyone in that industries or those industries.
Definitely, or even if you've got a few different accounts, you've got a personal account, a business account, just switching between the two is a whole lot easier when you can do it on one browser window rather than having to quick sign out, sign in. It drives me up the wall. Even though I've got LastPass, obviously, it still saves you loads of time.
How many accounts do you have?
Personally,
yeah.
Well, personally, I only have one account.
Me too.
Yeah, I've always had one account because it's just too much work to have more than one.
I agree, and I always think that Twitter should reflect all of you. So if you're, we're both in web marketing and digital business during the day. If we do something else in the evenings, why not include that?
Exactly. I mean, I have an if, that if this then that thing set up, which sends my Instagram pictures directly to my Twitter feed as a picture. And I often forget that sometimes. Luckily, it's only usually pictures of the dog. But mine's kind of personal and business at the same time. It's not really separate.
Very good. So where can we find Twitcher?
Well, as it's a Chrome add-on, you can find it in the Chrome Web Store, and it's called Twitcher. It's TWITCHER.
Very good. Only works in Chrome then. Is it both Mac and PC? Does it work across both?
I've got a Mac, and it's just in a Chrome. It's just in a Chrome browser window, so I'm assuming it'll work on a PC as well. I've not had a PC for many years, so I don't know.
Me neither. Yeah.
Or things.
Cool, great stuff. Well, that's a great first one to kick off with, something that's saving you time, and definitely great for lots of people in your Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Well, the first one I'm going to go through might be, I'm hoping it's not too complex, but I'm going to do my best to explain what it does.
Okay, I better concentrate.
So, I think that Google developers section of their kind of resource website has lots of great apps. And one of the best is one called the UTM Builder. First question, what is UTM and what does it mean? UTM codes are pieces of additional, what would I call it, wording or things that we put on the end of a URL. Mm-hmm. So let's say we could send people to your homepage, so joeharrison.rocks, mm-hmm. and we could use the URL joeharrison.rocks as a link. But the problem with that is when we come to analyze the traffic to your site, sometimes Google Analytics isn't sure where the traffic came from. And so it guesses where it belongs. And we actually see examples of this in analytics where we might find there's 2 or 3 entries for Facebook, mm-hmm. or we might find it very hard to find any traffic that came from our email marketing campaign.
Yeah.
And these are all problems with Google Analytics trying to decide where this visitor came from. So a way that we can really help Analytics understand where something came from is to use UTM codes. There are 3 main codes that we use. Those are source, medium, and campaign. There's other ones to specify if you wish, but adding UTM codes on the end of our URL means that Google Analytics puts mm-hmm. those visitors into a really specific allocation. So you might have seen addresses like mm-hmm. this. You always find that they have the web address at the front and then they have a question mark and it'll say UTM equals. And the address becomes really long. So when we use a bit of software like MailChimp, that often creates a UTM code for us and we just don't know it. But it helps mm-hmm. Analytics know that that visitor who came to the site came from MailChimp. So using the UTM Builder, which is a web page with an app on it, on the Google Developers Resource site, we can create special URLs for any promotion that we do. And that helps us ascertain how successful it was. So examples of where we might do that are, let's say we do lots of Facebook ads. Using the UTM Builder, we can tell Analytics that a visitor came from a specific ad within a campaign, rather than just the campaign overall. Or if we do, say, offline marketing, if we do a newspaper ad, or we put an advert in on radio even, then we can use a UTM Builder there to create a special address that we send people to. And that helps us to track where the traffic came from. Now, to do that latter thing where we track offline conversions, we also need to create a domain redirect as well, so the address doesn't become too complex. But it's quite a technical tool, I know. But using this page and this particular app on the resources page, we can create addresses very, very quickly and begin to have more control over how Analytics treats our traffic. Mm-hmm. Did that make sense, or did that confuse you, Joe?
Yeah, well, see, I'm cheating a little bit because I'm looking at the website that the link, so I can see exactly what it is.
Great stuff to do.
It makes sense. I'm always seeing the UTMs on the end of links, and I'm really naughty and I delete them before I share them out again.
Do you? Joe, now you know why you shouldn't do that.
Well, I know, because I mean, a lot of the ones I tend to delete is when I'm rescheduling them onto my social media, and they've got this blooming great long link on there, and it's usually a Buffer one anyway, because I get a lot of stuff from Buffer. So I just remove it because it looks neater, and I'm just an organised person.
And you're right there about neatness. One thing that is true, UTM URLs look really long and too complex. So what we can do to get around that is to use either something like Bitly or a URL shortener to tidy them up. Or we can even create a subdomain on our own website. So we might create a subdomain of promo.joeharrison.rocks and forward that to a UTM URL. But the big reason to keep the UTM, whether it's redirected or it's there as a natural link, is in the tracking. Because suddenly analytics becomes way more organized as to where your traffic comes from, and you get better information and better data from it afterwards, because nothing's confused and put in the wrong place. And when we're making decisions, when we do advertise somewhere or do promotion, the more accurate we make our tracking, the better, because the better idea we have as to what is not working.
Yeah. But for me, deleting them from other people's links, it's not going to affect my traffic, is it? Because it will affect their traffic analytics.
Exactly. You're just messing up theirs. Which may pleasure you, it may not. So how many links can you do? Is there a limit, or is this... No, you can use that as many times as you like. And, the whole reason it's there is because it helps analytics become a better product.
Okay.
So Google wants people to use a UTM builder. There's many other ones out there too, but I think theirs is dead simple to use. It's not. There's no login required. You just go there and create it. Now, ironically, talking about really unattractive URLs, you can see in your browser it's got really bad URL. So I actually made one that simplifies it. So if people want to go and check out the UTM builder, they can use the address of bit.ly, so bit.ly/UTM code builder. And that will take you there.
Cool. Well done.
So, Joe, I think you should go and try and create your first UTM link. That could be your challenge of the podcast. We have one every time, don't we?
Yeah, I will. I'll play around with it and see how it goes.
Great stuff. So what's your next app?
Okay, so my next app is something called Summary. And if you remember, probably a few podcasts ago, I can't remember exactly when it was, we talked about an app called Blinkist, which we both use for books, which non-fiction books, where you can kind of get an overview. They're in blinks, so you get the key messages from the books. So Summary, spelled SMMRY without the U and the A, is very similar to Blinkist because you can summarize any text that you have. So you can paste an article or an essay into the box on the website, or you can upload a PDF or paste in a URL. So, for example, if you come across a really long article that looks really interesting, but you just don't have time to read it, click the link, copy the URL, paste it in here, and you click Summarize, and it just summarizes the key points for you.
Wow. So how does the app recognize what parts to summarize?
I have no idea. It's basically, you've got a little option at the top which says summarize my text in, and then you can tell it how many sentences you want it to summarize it in. Mm-hmm. So obviously, probably more is better, because if you're going to do it in 2 sentences, you're not really going to get the kind of overview of the article. But I don't actually know how it works, and I've tried it a few times with articles, and it's worked quite well. I mean, there are some odd sentences in there, and you think, I don't really get that. So it's probably not absolutely perfect, but it definitely gives you a good idea of what the article's about, and then you think, well, actually, I'll bookmark that and I'll read it when I've got time. It's kind of like a thing that you can use quickly to see if the article's going to be any interest to you.
That sounds a really interesting idea. So have you kind of found anything where you thought, I can't be bothered reading that? Probably a brief that I sent you. Did you paste it into summary?
That's a good idea, actually. I might find one of your briefs and paste it. No, I find lots of things really boring that I could paste in there, but I've not used it a hell of a lot. It's just mainly links of articles that I come across, especially things like Neil Patel does really long articles, and they're really good articles. I don't want to say they're really boring. They're really good articles, but they are really long. So I've used it for some of his articles before. And it's good, and then I'll go back and read the article if it looks like something that I'm interested in. So
very good. I love the picture we're painting of ourselves in this podcast. You're destroying everybody's links by taking out the UTM codes, summarising everything that everyone sends you.
Yeah, well, maybe I won't have so much work next week.
Great stuff. So where can we find that app? It sounds really, really good.
It's the URL is smmry.com. So it's summary without the vowels.com.
Wow, there we go. Great stuff. Really? That's a good one to find, Joe. I like the idea of that.
I actually found it on the Blinkist Facebook group, and somebody posted about it in there. And I thought, I'm going to have a look at that. And that was, quite a while ago now. And I've only just got round to mentioning it on the podcast.
I love the idea that there's people out there using both Blinkist and Summary.
we're just like productivity ninjas.
That's it. The 21st century generation.
Yeah, exactly.
Great stuff. So my next app that I'm going to talk about is Facebook Canvas. Have you heard of this, John?
I think I have, but I can't remember what it is.
Okay, I think this is a big one for the internet. So every now and then something comes along which changes possibility, and Facebook Canvas, I think, might be that. So really, Facebook advertising has changed a lot of things in the last 2 years. So one thing that Facebook brought in a couple of years ago, which has really changed online advertising, is lookalike audiences. So powerful that Google have copied the concept with their own similar to audiences. So now we're in a position where we can match type people who are very similar to a source kind of data list that we give either Facebook or Google. We did this in our last webinar.
We did, yes.
We did indeed. So Facebook Canvas is, how can I describe it? I've heard it described as like a microsite or your own TV ad. It's a mobile-only advertising option, and what it literally does, it allows you to pull together a mix of images, sound, video, words, call-to-action buttons, and create like an experience that sits on the mobile phone page. So what this means is that suddenly we have all this possibility in creating our adverts, and when we think of where online advertising came from, we all began with text ads, which are still very much a part of Google AdWords. But now with Canvas, we're in this position where all of us can create a real multimedia experience very, very quickly. From the Facebook side, it means that you do not need to leave the Facebook platform to watch someone's canvas. And this is a massive thing. What we've done in the past is send people to landing pages and send them to a third-party site, often our own. But here, Facebook has made distinct efforts in the last 2 years to keep people on Facebook. So this all began with lead ads, where you could sign up for things from within Facebook and not go to a third-party site, enter your name and email, and register there. Canvas is another step on. This is where we could create, for example, a multimedia advert for joeharrison.rocks on Facebook Canvas and send it out and target people on their mobile devices.
Oh, okay.
So quite an incredible thing, and I really encourage everyone to go and have a go. Dead simple web address, canvas.facebook.com. It's loads of fun, it's easy to use, and it's powerful.
Interesting. I've not seen anything either, like any advertising at me, if you know what I mean.
Well, it'll take time. It's a bit like Facebook Live, and we're very much moving into a multimedia advertising world.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that always happens with anything new that comes into the online world is there is opportunity in the beginning, because people don't jump on board as fast as others. There's a bit of a barrier to using things like Facebook Live. You have to be on video. Not everyone's comfy with that.
Yeah.
With Facebook Canvas, I'm the same. With Facebook Canvas, we have to create something really, really quite fantastic to really make it, use it to its full potential. So we have to have great imagery. We have to have great videos made. We have to have strong calls to action. So we need all that to make a great Canvas ad. But Facebook will just make this easier and easier to do. So I would say, if you're looking to promote something right now, go and do this. The other thing that will happen is any network will push harder something new because they want it to work. So people who have tried Facebook Live probably noticed those videos got more exposure than a non-live video that they may have done around the same time. It's going to be the same with Canvas ads. They're going to go further in the beginning because Facebook's going to push them harder to make this new platform work.
Yeah, interesting. It's funny, actually, I received a message from Facebook earlier, and I was getting really excited because I saw the first line saying, "We're pleased to say," and I thought they verified my Facebook page, but they haven't. It was all about some beta testing for adding reviews to adverts now, like the star reviews.
Got you, yes.
And they're gonna. I'm allowed to use it. I'm going to be in the beta testing, although I'm not got any adverts running. So
great stuff. You should be very honoured. So that is actually something which is taken from Google Ads. So Google Ads, we can stream in TripAdvisor or Trustpilot or other review sites. So we can see all these things happening in the world of online advertising, and they're all geared towards making our ads actually act like websites.
Yeah, exactly.
So great stuff. So go and check out Canvas, people. It's pretty amazing.
I'm going to check that out later.
So for me, Joel, Canvas is my app of the month. What's yours?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. Probably Summary, I think, because it saves me lots of time with all these long articles that people keep writing.
Yeah, or briefs.
Or briefs that people keep sending me. Yeah, exactly.
There we go. So, Joe, let's talk about our next webinar. You put the call out on your Facebook group, and we're seeking topics.
Yes, we are. We've not had any suggestions for next month, so everyone needs to get in there and give us some ideas.
And what's the date of the next webinar?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that. Is it? I think it's the 4th of May. The
4th of May. That's a nice sounding date.
May the 4th be with you.
Exactly. It is the Star Wars Day, isn't it? That's right.
Yeah, local elections, apparently.
And local elections, there we go. Which one would you rather attend, Star Wars or local elections?
Or the webinar.
Or the webinar, indeed. Great stuff. Well, anyone who has any suggestions, send them to us. Otherwise, we shall post a couple of options up there. I do have one idea in mind, but we can chat about that later. Joel, thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure as always.
No problem. I just have one small shout out because
go for it.
I keep forgetting every time. We did a podcast on MailerLite some time ago, and they very kindly tweeted me and said that they wanted to send me a T-shirt, and I received the T-shirt, and I will wear it on our next webinar.
Fantastic. That's great stuff.
So everyone can have a look.
I look forward to seeing that too.
Good.
Brilliant. Great stuff. So thank you very much for listening, guys. See you next time. My name is Phil Byrne, and I'd like to thank you so much for listening today. I hope you got something really good to take away from this week's episode for you or your business. And you know what? I'd like to give you something more. In fact, I'd like to give you a whole free web marketing pack full of all my latest and best ideas on how you can take your business forward positively online. Download your pack at positivesparks.co.uk/pack, and most of all, guys, look forward to seeing you again next week.